King Midas possessed unimaginable wealth, but hungered endlessly for more. A sudden magical gift would soon turn his greatest desire into a terrible, all-consuming curse. Would he realize the true value of life before losing everything he held dear? Follow his tragic path and witness the incredibly heavy price of blinding greed. Midas ruled over a prosperous kingdom filled with exceptionally peaceful people. He spent his passing days locked tightly inside a dark royal vault. Great mountains of shining coins surrounded him entirely in the perpetual, unbroken gloom of the royal vault. Counting endless piles of heavy treasure became his only real source of daily joy and comfort. The cold weight of yellow metal brought him profound comfort. Sunlight rarely touched his pale, tired face during these long, obsessive counting sessions in the dark. His daughter Marigold was completely different. She spent her joyful afternoon hours tending to a vast and incredibly colorful courtyard garden full of life. The sweet fragrance of blooming roses brought her tremendous, innocent happiness. Midas often watched her running playfully among the vibrant red petals. He secretly wished those fragile flowers were forged entirely of unbreakable, solid gold, so they would never die. Real beauty must never fade. This foolish obsession completely blinded him to all the simple natural wonders flourishing right outside his window. One quiet evening brought an unexpected, magical visitor into his dark treasury. A mysterious shadow drifted gracefully across the cold stone floor. A brilliant golden light suddenly illuminated the dusty, hidden corners of the quiet, forgotten treasury room. A smiling stranger appeared directly beside the absolute heaviest chest of stored coins. The magical being wore garments seemingly woven from pure, glowing sunlight. The radiant visitor asked why Midas looked so incredibly gloomy tonight. Bitter complaints poured forth from the wealthy king regarding his pitiful fortune and lack of true power. He pointed tiredly at the massive surrounding piles of royal treasure. It was simply not enough to satisfy his dangerously greedy heart. The glowing stranger offered a marvelous magical opportunity to the endlessly sorrowful and complaining king. He promised to grant Midas one single extraordinary wish.
The treasure.
Excitement surged wildly.
Real. All mine.
He immediately demanded the awesome power to transform absolutely anything into pure, solid, and magnificent gold. The smiling spirit warned him deeply about the terrible hidden danger of possessing such heavy magic.
No more. I will
Midas
not listen to
stubbornly
your lies.
ignored the wise caution of this
This is
divine
my fate.
visitor.
Mine alone.
He insisted loudly on receiving this magnificent golden touch
to me now.
without any further delay or hesitation. The stranger slowly nodded his glowing head in quiet, final agreement. He firmly promised the magic would fully awaken with the rising morning sun. The bright figure vanished instantly into the thin, damp air. Shadows quickly reclaimed the dark corners of the royal treasure vault. Midas tossed endlessly. Feverish dreams of endless wealth and shining golden cities completely consumed his sleeping mind throughout the night. Dawn finally broke across the distant eastern horizon. Warm morning sunlight flooded completely into the grand royal bedchamber. Midas woke up with a violently pounding and terribly eager heart. He stretched out a trembling hand toward his simple, woven linen blanket. The soft cloth instantly hardened into a heavy, magnificent golden sheet. A triumphant laugh escaped wildly from his joyful, parting lips.
Yes.
He leaped eagerly from his bed to thoroughly test this glorious new power upon the royal furniture. One finger eagerly tapped the heavy wooden corner bedpost. The intricately carved wood shifted immediately into gleaming, solid metal. He ran around the grand chamber, touching heavy chairs, thick wooden tables, and woven tapestries. Every mundane object transformed rapidly into priceless, solid golden treasure beneath his magical, glowing fingertips. Pure joy filled his greedy mind beyond all earthly measure as his vast wealth multiplied instantly. He quickly threw open the heavy wooden doors of his royal balcony. The air smelled sweet. He hurried quickly downstairs toward the beautiful, blooming palace gardens. Dew glistened softly upon the delicate petals of crimson roses. Midas began violently grabbing the fragile living flowers one by one. Soft velvet petals stiffened forcefully into perfectly rigid golden shapes. The sweet fragrance vanished instantly from the passing morning breeze. Dozens of heavy metal flowers dragged the fragile green branches aggressively downward toward the damp soil. He dashed frantically from bush to beautiful blossoming bush, spreading his golden curse across the garden.
With a touch, the green
His eager hands struck leaves and stems with reckless, joyful abandon.
Be still.
The vibrant living garden quickly became a cold, heavy, and utterly silent forest of pure metal. He felt incredibly proud of his magnificent and permanent artistic improvements. This lifeless garden was now worth a truly mighty royal fortune. A terrible rolling hunger eventually interrupted his glorious golden morning. The hungry king walked proudly back into his grand marble dining hall for a morning feast. Loyal servants had prepared a truly magnificent feast upon the royal table. Freshly baked bread and juicy roasted meats smelled absolutely wonderful today. His stomach grumbled loudly at the incredibly delicious scent of warm food waiting on the table. Midas grabbed a warm roll with eager and desperately hungry anticipation, expecting a soft and delicious bite. The soft bread turned instantly into a perfectly solid golden lump. His teeth clattered painfully against the completely unbreakable metal surface of the newly transformed golden bread. Confusion clouded his mind. He carefully reached out for a crystal goblet of cool water. The refreshing liquid froze instantly into a solid, heavy block of gold. Thirst burned dryly inside his royal throat. Panic slowly began to creep deeply into his wealthy, arrogant heart. A beautifully roasted fish became a shining, inedible metal statue upon his fine ceramic dining plate. Even soft green grapes transformed rapidly into heavy golden marbles. Starvation suddenly felt like a very real and present terrifying threat, despite his newly acquired magical power. All his endless wealth could not buy him a single bite. Little Marigold ran into the grand dining room, weeping bitterly over the destruction of her precious garden. She held a heavy, lifeless golden rose tightly in her small hands. The beautiful flower had completely lost its soft life, sweet scent, and vibrant red natural color. Midas felt a deep physical pang of terrible mounting guilt, tightening painfully around his royal chest. He rushed eagerly forward to comfort his desperately weeping child. His arms wrapped tightly around her shaking, small, delicate shoulders. A sudden, horrifying stiffness seized her warm young body. The rosy, living color drained completely from her soft, wet cheeks. Her flowing dark hair hardened rapidly into rigid yellow strands. A cold, silent metal statue now stood exactly where his beautifully vibrant young daughter had been.
No.
Horror struck the king like a violently destructive summer lightning bolt, tearing through the peaceful sky. He fell heavily to his knees before the silent golden child. Tears of deep, sorrowful regret poured endlessly down his royal face, splashing uselessly against the golden floor. The richest man alive was now completely broken and entirely alone. The sorrow is unbearable, wouldn't you say? If you hope our foolish king finds mercy, show your support with a small like. Midas cried out loudly for the mysterious magical stranger to return and undo this terrible tragedy. He begged the high heavens fiercely to take away this cruel curse and restore his daughter. Fists pounded angrily against the cold, golden floorboards. The radiant spirit suddenly materialized within the silent grand dining hall. The glowing visitor asked calmly if Midas was completely satisfied with his ultimate wealth and supreme power. The weeping king confessed his terribly destructive and selfish foolishness aloud for all the heavens to hear. He declared that infinite gold and riches meant absolutely nothing in this world without his living, breathing daughter.
I would trade all of this gold.
He offered all
my
his
kingdom's
vast
riches,
treasure to
if only
reverse
to
this
have her
horrifying
back.
magical
Take it all.
mistake.
Just restore her to me.
The smiling spirit showed great mercy to the truly broken father. He instructed Midas to visit the deep river flowing swiftly past the edge of the royal garden.
Behold,
The magical
the path to
visitor
redemption
commanded
lies
him to
through the
plunge
shadowed gate.
directly
Go
into its
forth and
rushing
seek your
waters.
penance. Yes, my liege.
The pure river would entirely wash away the cursed golden touch. Midas sprinted frantically toward the rushing waters without ever looking back.
The gold
He
does
ignored
not
the heavy
cleanse.
golden
It
roses
is
scattered
suffocating.
carelessly across the green
I
grass.
must reach the river.
A deep dive plunged him entirely into the cold and wonderfully cleansing currents of the mountain stream.
At
A heavy,
last,
dark
the
weight
cleansing
instantly
current.
lifted from his tired and aching shoulders. He watched golden magical dust wash rapidly away from his royal hands and vanish downstream forever.
The cure.
He
It is
quickly
here.
filled a humble clay pitcher with the magical river water. The simple clay vessel remained perfectly ordinary in his wet, shaking grip. Hope surged wildly within his beating chest. He sprinted back toward the grand palace, clutching the heavy pitcher of water against his beating chest. Water splashed eagerly over the silent, golden statue of his beloved, unfortunately cursed child. Warm, living color returned quickly to her beautiful, frightened face as the heavy gold melted entirely away. Marigold gasped deeply for air and threw her small arms around her joyful, weeping royal father. Midas wept freely and held her incredibly close to his violently beating and rapidly healing heart. He grabbed the pitcher again and rushed quickly outside. Tender care guided his hands while bathing the rigid garden flowers with the remaining pure river water. The sweet, living fragrance of soft, blooming roses filled the warm morning air around the palace once more. The king completely hated the sight of yellow gold for the rest of his days. True wealth is always found in warm life and genuine love, never in cold, unfeeling yellow metal. Greed only leads to an incredibly empty, utterly lonely, and profoundly sorrowful human heart.